the opinions of the people that actually run the businesses on Main Street and take their input.
Thank you. Jess?
You know, Bob, you make a really good point. Again, we talked about this a little earlier. The businesses that succeed, in my mind, provide a specialized service. And since you're here, I mean, if I'm looking for a certain kind of a nut or bolt, I'm going to go to talk to you. You know what? I might pay a couple cents more for that than at Home Depot, but you know what? I know I'm going to get the right thing. Okay? Now, that being said, people are coming in here and building condos, and the issue is, and Steve alluded to it, zoning and planning. What happens is people buy these properties, and by right, they can do what they can build these things. Now, you know, this is really more of a zoning / planning board question that, you know, as long as the bylaw, the zoning regulations are in effect, they have to carry them out. Now, granted, they do have some say as to, you know, how they look and those kinds of things, but at the end of the day, if I own a piece of property and I can build something by right, they're going to do it. And I'm going to be straight, you know, we're not kidding anybody. Some people out there are going to make money and they're going to move on. And that's America. And it's unfortunate because, you know, we all want to see the downtown revitalized. But I think in order for businesses, as I alluded to earlier, the big box stores aren't going to work. A specialized store like yourself works. You know, specialized boutique restaurants work. We have banks, you know. It can happen, but we have to put our heads together and put the right types of businesses in there. One last thing. In order to change what's going on, is you know, stopping these condos, you'd have to sit down and redo these bylaws and redo the zoning because it's not going to change. So, and like I said, we're not kidding anybody. That has to happen, or you know, they can rip all these old buildings down, and all you're going to see are all these new types of things. So, that's it.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Frank?
Bob, planning, focus, a coherent development plan for the whole town, that will help focus the type of business that comes into the downtown. I mean, you're talking about these small stores. I think about the new place that's right across from Town Hall. I'm wondering what the heck's going to fit in that retail space down there. I won't fit in there. I don't know what kind of business is going to fit in that space. You know, Jess alluded to the fact that people come in, they're allowed to do this. We have a very hardworking planning board. They're going by the rules. They're there to help. They're a bunch of smart people. But they can't just say, we'd rather see this or we'd rather see that to a great extent. They need some guidance, and businesses need some guidance. If we have a marketing plan in this town that says, we'd like to see this type of thing happen in downtown, whether it's more restaurants or whether it's, there's been talk of a cultural district. There's been talk about adopting the Main Street plan, Main Street USA plan, to bring business, have uniformity, have it be more attractive. Businesses need to know that. These developers who come in that Jess alluded to, they're not all snidely whiplash, twirling their mustache saying, ah, ha, ha, I'm going to build condos. If they have an idea that the town and the people are looking for this type of development, they'll see the opportunity and they'll take advantage of it. In a void, they'll do what they see is going on, condo development. The market has spoken about condo development. When you got your last tax bill, even though the actual tax levy for the whole town only went up a few percent, if you live in a single-family home, it's likely that it went up even higher because the values of the condos went down and the single-family homes went up. We've got too many condos, that says to me. But we have to have a coherent plan. We have to sit down. Parking, what are we going to do about parking? What are we going to do about the streets? I don't know what we're going to do about them, but we got to sit down and figure that out. Thanks.
Thank you, Frank. So that concludes the question and answer section of the program. And thank you for your questions, panel. And at this point, we're going to allow each of the candidates 2 minutes to give closing remarks, and we'll start with Vic, and then we'll move down the chairs that way.
Okay, thanks. I'll start. Hi, I'm Vic Lehman. I'm running for Board of Selectmen, as you well know. The election's coming up May 13th. I ask you for your vote. I'm a fiscal conservative. I am against operational Prop 2.5 overrides. I have a very basic political philosophy. I believe that government is established to protect life, liberty, and property. Not necessarily in that order, but that's how it was written in the original Declaration of Independence. So I feel as a public servant On the Board of Selectmen, your primary responsibility is to the taxpayers and the residents of town, and making sure that their rights are being protected and looked after. And that's it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Jess?
thank you. Again, for those who don't know me, my name is Jess Aptowitz, and I have been on the Board of Selectmen for the last 6 years. I'm seeking re-election to the board for another 3-year term. Just to give some specifics of some accomplishments, which I think is important, because, being the only incumbent, people are going to look at, what you've done and what you haven't done. And I think we've done many things. First of all, we came together as a town. We developed a strategic plan with getting the input of all the people in it, which was a great thing to do. And we're actually implementing specific items in that strategic plan as we speak. I've strived over the years to keep rates down, tax rates down for the ratepayers. I've also worked, and in fact, for the last 6 years, I have not voted once for a water or sewer increase. I feel that they've been 6, 8, 10%, and that's another way. It's whether you take the money out of your right pocket or your left pocket, it's still the same checkbook. So I've worked at that, and I think the biggest thing is we've come to a one town, one budget model. 2 years ago, when I was chairman the first time, we basically sat down. I think it was Mr. Trowbridge, who was the chairman of the school committee. We sat down with Brenda and Mr. Ross and said, look, you folks have to get this budget balanced. And they did it. They did a great job. And I think the last couple of years, we're all working collaboratively together. We're all adults. People are paid good money to do their jobs. And the board is not micromanaging what the people on the staff do. They're given their assignments and they get them done. And I think it's our job to look at things on a macroscopic basis. I ask you for your vote on May 13th. If you're going to summarize me with one word, I'd say ethics. I'm very ethically bound. If something's wrong, I'm going to say it. If something's right, I'm going to say it. This is a commitment. Being a selectman is not just a 3-hour job on a Wednesday night. It takes a lot of time and effort. For those who don't know, if I'm not in the town hall every day, it's every other day. We work hard. I congratulate all of my fellow candidates here because, just to put your name out there takes a lot of nerve and guts. So I congratulate everybody here, and hopefully you vote for me, and I look forward to another term honorably serving the town of Mansfield. So thank you.
Thank you. Frank?
I'm Frank Del Vecchio. I think many of you know me from my service on the Finance Committee and the School Committee. I've lived in town for 17 years and I've been active in town government for most of that time. I also work in the field. I apologize for my written notes. I spent most of the day today on the phone working on a project for a Rhode Island state agency that asked our opinion and the opinion of other firms on the creditworthiness of a particular municipality in Rhode Island and how they would do if they went to market. That's the type of thing I've been doing for almost 30 years in one way or another. I've been to town meetings in Norfolk, Rentham, presenting their, the Plainville, Irving, Pomfret, Connecticut. I have stories about these town meetings. But I've worked in other towns. I've seen what works. I've seen what doesn't work. I have the experience working with boards and presenting information. And although it may not be clear now, I'm pretty good at explaining things clearly. But there's a couple of things I want to point out. One is this is an ad hoc type of thing. On the town meeting warrant this coming week, there's going to be an article for an economic development and industrial corporation. Now, the support on the Board of Selectmen for that has been kind of tepid. People say, we got to let the invisible hand handle things. But I think the invisible hand recently has been sitting on itself. This corporation will give the town the opportunity to develop blighted areas of the town, but also to put together a concerted effort to market the town. Studies have shown that the single most effective way to attract business to your community is to have a marketing plan. And we need to put that marketing plan together. And this is the mechanism to do it. So we have to show up to town meeting for that. Mansfield has gone through some tough times recently, and things are at a good place now, and it's due to a lot of hard work by our local officials. This election, though, is about how we maintain these gains and use them to stay at to get to and stay at a better place. And one way to endorse the hard work that's been done by our Finance Committee and our Planning Board and the School Committee and the Board of Selectmen and our Housing Authority is to come out and vote. Voting's been down in recent elections. That leaves the door open for the best candidates to lose. Everyone on this stage has a Facebook page. They have a personal Facebook page. Some have websites, although I think that's personally so 2010. Check out those websites. See who's put time and effort into thinking about the issues before us and what's at stake in this election. And then on May 13th, whatever you decide, please come out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Steve?
Thank you. The theme of my campaign is make the most of Mansfield. And that's what all of our town leaders strive to do, whether they're school committee members, whether they're planning board members, whether they're selectmen or finance committee members, department heads, staff, or even teachers. They're all looking to make the most and to make the most of all of Mansfield. It wasn't more than 3 or 4 years ago where our budget process was just in tumult. It was a calamity. It was in turmoil. Since then, we have successfully changed that conflict and turned it into collaboration. As Vice Chair of the Finance Committee, I am very proud of the work that my colleagues and I have done to make that accomplishment happen. And now we have a chance to move forward, and I'd like to continue that success with the Board of Selectmen on your behalf. I will also bring to the board my experience as a Chief Financial Officer. You know, as CFO, every day I had to make the financial and operational decisions that affected our employees and affected our customers. You know, I also collaborate with my colleagues on the issues of the day and on the plans and the futures of our company. This is exactly what the job of a selectman is. As an actuary managing financial products, you know, I have the skills and experience necessary to help us evaluate those complex financial decisions that we have to make and to keep our taxes low for our citizens. Now, as you know, it's the financial decisions now that we are facing that are the most pressing. Please remember that I started out as a high school math teacher. You know, I have taught classrooms of 30+ students, and I've worked with school districts with insufficient means and funds. You know, so it's that experience as well as having 2 kids about to enter the school system that gives me an understanding of what the school issues are, and also a vested interest in making sure we have a good school system. It's in everyone's vested interest because school system quality and property values are directly tied. Now, if elected on May 13th, sorry, I could be elected on May 12th. Please go and vote early if you'd like. Vote often too. I will continue to improve our communication. I'll continue to improve our collaboration that we've started. And I'll take my experience as that CFO and actuary and tackle those tough financial issues that we have to face in the coming years. And I'll indeed make the most of Mansfield in that capacity. I've enjoyed meeting many of you on this campaign, at coffee shops, at delis, at the grocery stores, you know, on the soccer fields, and even at the Target, of all places. I agree with many of you of the concerns that you've expressed, and I thank you for the nice comments about how we've turned things to collaboration. I know that I can help us efficiently use our tax dollars. I know that I can help our schools get what they need. And I know with my experience, my background, and my skills, I'll make you proud to have me as your selectman.
Thank you. So that concludes our event, and I want to thank you for joining us on Meet the Candidates. I really want to thank the candidates for coming out and sharing their views and opinions for our audience. Thank our distinguished panel for your questions, and hopefully we'll see you all at the polls on May 13th. Good night.